Well, that did not go as planned. Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. In today's video I'm gonna continue the work on my Mini-ITX PC build. And I have my parts and different stuff already on the bench, so let's take a look and let me tell you a little bit more on what I'm gonna do. If you didn't see the first part, then I'll recommend you do that first. However, in that episode I got this Mini-ITX motherboard and I tested it, and it has this little DC to DC power supply that needs 12 volts input. I tested that as well and it worked, and also attached a floppy disk drive and booted into DOS with that. So my plans for this is to build a case and get this up and running with a hard drive and installing Windows and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. So when it comes to a case for this, I was thinking about getting a complete case, but yeah, they are quite expensive and they are for the most part meant for modern variants of the Mini-ITX. However, this is 20 years old or more than that, and yeah, I was also thinking about 3D printing a whole case or enclosure, and I found some models, but they too were meant for like modern variants where you have a separate GPU card and things like that, and no floppy disk drive. So then I came up with the idea of using these plexiglass, that's what we call it here at least. That's some kind of plastic, but it's clear, and I got 2 plates here and it has some pink wrap on it. So I'm gonna cut these plates into shape that fits this, and I have one on the bottom and one on the top, and also gonna use some metal standoffs. These were made by my father, who is a mechanic, and yeah, also gonna print some additional fastenings and stuff that I need, and then we'll see how it goes. I was thinking about the height, and yeah, this one has one expansion slot PCI, and it needs to be at least that high that it can accommodate this card, and then these metal rods are in fact too short. So right now I am printing some additional parts that I'm gonna use to lengthen these, and then make some arrangement on the top of the case that makes it quick to take off the top if I need to do that. So we'll see about that. Also, I got some additional stuff for this. I got a hard drive, I got a new fan. This one makes quite a lot of noise. And I'm gonna recap the caps that are bulging, and in part 1 you saw this. 2 of these caps are bulging upwards, quite noticeable, so they need to be replaced. In fact, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna recap this, at least those 4 caps. These are quite small 1000 microfarad caps, and I didn't have those last time, but now I got them here. So yeah, maybe these are in fact a little bigger, but I think they will fit if I push them. There's a little bit of leeway, perhaps, we'll see. Right now I am printing just a test part for that additional fastening for the rods that are gonna hold the top of the case. The fastenings and the bolts I'm gonna print I found in this OpenSCAD script, and it's quite configurable. You can choose between nuts and bolts and rods and also washers. So I took this and modified it a little bit, and then I made this model here with this tube here with threads on the inside, and on the other side there's like a hole and also a hole for another screw inside. So we'll see if this fits, and then I took one of the bolts and printing now. Alright, so only gonna replace these four caps here that are bulging. At least these two are bulging and the other two are the same kind, so I guess they can go bad as well. The other ones I'm gonna leave for now. These caps are soldered onto this very large ground plane here, and we'll see if it's easy to get out. So let's try. So I think I need some more heat on these large planes here. These two went well. I'm actually gonna add a little fresh leaded solder first. Yeah, that went a whole lot better. So now in with the slightly bigger caps. They're also taller. No, that does not work. They're simply too large. So I was thinking about keeping the two caps that aren't bulging, but I just want to test, see how they perform. This is one that is bulging. It should be 1000 microfarad. Oh, look at that, it's just 131. 131, so that cap is completely gone. Let's try this one that is not bulging. Oh yeah, it's way off. It's almost 2000 microfarads. But I mean, the power supply worked. Maybe I can just use some other value. Not really sure. Yeah, 115 on this one. And the final one is 1400, so that's perhaps acceptable. Let's try the new ones then, see if they're good. Yeah, that's dead on, almost 1000. 1052. Alright, I have to get new caps. I thought this was the right size in width because I measured, but I think these are 12 millimeters and the other one was 10. So I'm gonna use these for now as a temporary solution, and it's gonna look ugly, but that just have to be like this for now. It's gonna work and it's good caps, so yeah, I just need to get on with this video. So that does look that awful, but yeah, I will replace this as soon as I get new ones. A little bit of flux and a little bit of soldering. So I needed a lot of heat on this, and yeah, I have turned my soldering station to 450 degrees Celsius. And even then it's kind of hard to melt the solder. Yeah, that looks good. Not half bad, except on this side. Looks terrible, but it should work, no issues there. So with poor values on the ones I replaced, that makes me doubt the rest of the caps. So yeah, at least these 470 microfarads, I'm gonna replace those with new. So I replaced the other caps, and yeah, let's check out the old caps. These should all be 470. Yeah, that one was actually good. Try a couple of the others. Yeah, 477. All those 470 microfarad caps were good, so I didn't have to change them, but now they're at least new and good brands. Strangely that only those 4000 microfarads were gone bad. Maybe they have had a lot of heat and they are very tight together, so at least now with this arrangement there's a little bit more air in between. Alright, let's see now if this thing still works after the recapping. Yeah, seems to be working. So I got this new fan from eBay, China. I just wanted to test if it's more silent than the old one. Just check it briefly. Yeah, it seems to be much quieter, and it's also new, so I'm gonna replace the original fan. So the fan has 4 screws. Oh, there's still a lot of dust there, so I'm gonna clean it up a little bit first. I did use compressed air, but I didn't take out the fan, so yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of dust. In with the new fan. This fan had a little too long cable. Just gonna fix that with a little cable tie. So the test parts for the standoffs are finished, and yeah, these turned out really nice. I never thought about you could actually print screws and bolts like this, nuts. They fit just perfectly. And the idea was to lengthen these metal ones by pushing this part in, and yeah, that's a really tight fit, and then use this metal screw here through there. However, how am I gonna be able to screw it in? The plate goes on top of these, and then this bolt goes on the top of the plate, and then I just tighten it. It's rudimentary, but that's what I actually want. Well, maybe it's not that hard after all. It's kind of tight fit down there, and maybe that screw will hold itself in place when I screw in this side. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Now that screw is really tight inside there, and this can go on top. Just need to trim off a little excess plastic here. So I'm gonna go with this model and print 3 more. And that's easy. I just select the parts, copy and paste. It's time to start designing the case, or yeah, let's call it the covers. This acrylic plastic, which I'm gonna use for that, and yeah, I'm actually gonna replace this frame with a slightly adjusted one that I adjusted myself, because the hard drive doesn't quite fit. I need to cut 1 millimeter here, and also I need some screw fastenings on this side to be able to screw it down to the plate. So here I have the original 3D model that I found on Thingiverse, and I want to remove a little bit here, so I just added a negative volume. Just going to drag it over here and zoom in so we can get it accurately. Yeah, so there I have like 1 millimeter cut off that original shape. Yeah, like that. And also one thing I did was I added these shapes here just to make some additional screw holes. And these are just blocks I placed. I can place it wherever I want, and I can then merge it with the original shape. So now it looks like this. And I want a hole for a screw, so I just select the shape and add a negative volume. For a screw, I select the cylinder. And obviously it is too big, so I'm gonna change it to 3 millimeters. Now I'll make it 2 millimeters or 2.5. Can't decide. So now I have a negative hole. I can just drag it there, and that will be a hole in the shape that's there. Just need to move it down so it goes through the shape like that. And now I will see in the result that there's a hole on both sides. And I'll do that for all the other fastenings as well. I just copied that hole and pasted 3 new ones. So now I can slice it once more, and we have a complete sliced model that can be used by the 3D printer. And I haven't actually connected the printer to my PC because it's in the other room. I just export to a SD card, and the printer can read the model from that. Now I'm gonna cut the plates, and I need to figure out how big I want it. So since I want to have also that power supply, I need it to be big enough to host both of those. Maybe it's better if the power is on that side, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, that will work. I also need a little room for the spacers in the corners, so I guess something like that will do. Just gonna make a mark. Of course, on the other side as well, I don't want to be too tight here, around there. So that will be the shape, a little bit of a rectangle. So that's the cutout, and this can be sawed with yeah, you can use a metal saw or an electric saw, but you should use a saw that doesn't go too hot, because this acrylic plastic can melt and it can be deformed if it gets high temperature. Then I just mark the other one and throw it out as well. Okay, then it's down to the garage where I'm gonna cut this with a hand saw, a metal saw. The new motherboard holder is finished, looking good. I made it in red this time to match these fastenings, and I completed all 4, so now I can just use these printed nuts. And the glass is, or acrylic glass is also cut. a little bit uneven here, so I'm gonna take the Dremel and I'm gonna sand it down, and also the edges are a little bit sharp, so I'm gonna file them down as well. Let's take a look with the protective plastic off. Yeah, that looks very nice, like glass. Obviously this will scratch a lot easier than glass, but I'm gonna try and be careful. It's time to start assembling this thing, and yeah, I filed off the edges of the glass and it's now quite smooth. I just used some sandpaper and I found some screws, so it's time to drill some holes. But also I planned a little bit about how to mount the floppy drive, and yeah, I am gonna glue on this front plate here on the top plate, and then I'm gonna have the floppy drive sit mounted under like this, so it will be flush with the front. But then I need something to hold it there, and I actually designed a 3D model for some holder or attachments for this that I'm gonna screw into the plate. I couldn't find a pre-made model that could be used like this, so I actually designed this myself from the ground in OpenSCAD tool. And yeah, since it's only basic blocks like boxes and the holes are cylinders, it was quite easy. The only problem is to find the exact measurements, and yeah, I already printed one that did not quite fit, so now it's time to test revision number 2. And here it is. I just need to remove that brim. A brim is something I use sometimes to make the part stick better to the plate of the printer, especially with thin parts like this. When you print them standing, you need a brim, or else it can detach itself from the print plate during the printing. So let's see, does it fit? Yes. But the screw holes, the height, okay, it's not quite the correct size. As you can see, the width of the part is not enough, almost maybe half a millimeter. Okay, now it snaps into place, so I think this can be used after all. The second one I haven't printed yet. I'm gonna use 2 of these. I'm gonna make it a tiny little bit wider, and then on top there's holes to screw into the plastic. So now I just need to find the correct position for everything and make sure everything fits, and then I can mark it and drill some holes. Let's see now, where are those holes? Easy to see through. So I think I found the correct screws and yeah, the correct drill bit, but it's not easy to drill in this plastic. I did some tests here first to find the correct drill and see how it works. Because the surface is extremely slippery. Let's see now if this fits. Might be that the screws are a tiny bit too long, but yeah, if that's the case, then I will put some spacers in between. No, I think they are just perfect. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's really solid. Can't move anywhere. Only thing, I couldn't have a screw hole on this side because the floppy disk drive is going there. So if I had the screw standing up, then I would get into trouble with that. I just use a little bit of super glue here. Not sure if that's gonna stick to this plastic, but at least I'll try. Alright, that was the mount for the motherboard, and now I'm gonna make the holes for the bolts that are gonna hold these, and the bolts I'm gonna use is just regular bolts like this, and I'm gonna make a hole so that I can screw them in because there are threads on the inside of the cylinder. Obviously I'm gonna mount some feet under this bottom plate when I'm done. Then I'm gonna place the poles, or yeah, these metal rods. Just gonna draw around. Like that, and then I'm gonna measure in the middle and drill a hole. Now I'm using a 5mm drill, and I'm gonna drill right through it. Luckily it didn't crack. I thought I heard a cracking sound. Then the poles goes in. Hopefully they will be straight. Maybe I should have measured, yeah. I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna mark the holes on the top plate so that I get the accurate holes on that side as well. The plates are so slippery, they move by the slightest touch. Just gonna hold them with this tape. Then some screwing. It's not all that straight, I can tell by it shifting around when I screw it down, but I guess it will adjust itself. Not gonna tighten it too much. So that came together rather nicely. I think it looks cool. So this goes on top, and then these plastic nuts on top to make it easier to take off the top if I ever need to do that. Then I'm gonna place this power supply module, and yeah, I'm gonna use these brass standoffs. There are only 2 holes, one on each side. Just try to get it straight, and then I can mark the hole. That drill came with a small grinder set, and it couldn't even drill through this plastic. So I got a better drill here now. Let's see if I can get those standoffs in that hole. The hole is slightly smaller than the diameter of the standoff screw, so should fit. Yeah, I think that works. I'm afraid to put too much stress on the plate because it might suddenly crack and destroy it itself. Got a couple of nice screws here. Well, it was off by 1 millimeter. It's never easy to get the correct measurements on these things, but I can force it, I think. With a little persuasion it came right in, so now this hits very tight here. The motherboard is now screwed in and it sits really good there, and next I'm gonna drill the holes for the top plate. And the holes must be wide enough to fit this nut here, and that is 10 millimeters, and I have a 10 millimeter drill here. Oops. Okay. That was not nice. Well, I knew it could happen because this acrylic glass can break easily, and I don't have another glass right here today, so I need to go out to shop a new one. I'll try the other holes, see if that goes any better. Oops. Almost. So I think this drill is not the best, or the drill bit. Maybe it's not sharp enough. Yeah, it just broke off. So I need to figure another way to make those holes. I tried to drill another hole, but as you can see, it just broke up in the edges. So yeah, this one is not very good. So I figured if I drill very carefully and do not apply any force, take it step by step, then I managed to get a reasonably nice hole here. Not perfect. Alright, I got a new plastic plate and I just need to saw out the part that I need, and also went ahead and got this step drill bit, and it drills in steps from 6 up to 20 millimeters. I'm gonna drill up to 10, and I already rehearsed with this hole and it went very smooth, so yeah, this one is good for this purpose. Okay, the new plate has been cut and sanded, so let's see now if I can make some holes here without breaking it. Yes, that went very well. I drilled through and also just shaved off a little bit on the other side to make it look prettier, and yeah, those fits. Alright, that looks rather cool, I think. Now it's just a matter of assembling the whole thing, and yeah, the floppy drive mounts, they fit perfectly, and I'm gonna mount it here. And I also want a little plastic part in the front, but on that I'm gonna cut out the hole for the floppy drive. Just gonna mark it. I'm just gonna glue on this part in the front here, and I think that will look a little bit cooler, except I made this scratch here, but can't do anything about that. I could of course make a new one, but yeah, this is homemade. Now I'm gonna glue these corner pieces to the front plate. I actually just cut off a little bit of the end here to get rid of that ugly scratch, but yeah, not entirely straight. I filed it down a little bit, but still a little uneven, but that's okay. So I have this plastic glue. I'm gonna try with that. It says to apply on both sides and then wait 2-3 minutes. Oops, yeah. Always something goes wrong. This is just to make it more steady against the top plate. Then the next. Then I'm gonna glue the front part to this top part. And I already see that I did a mistake, but not a very serious one. I should have placed these corner parts on the other side, because I was planning to have the floppy drive on the other side, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna have it a little bit indented from the top, I think. I think that will look better. A little more glue. Then I'll let it dry a couple of hours and then I'll be back. Now I'm gonna mount the floppy drive, and I have marked the holes, and I'm gonna drill 4 holes here and just put screws from the top. Maybe not the best solution, but yeah, I think that's what I can do now. I want to use these kinds of screws that are recessed into the surface, so I'm just gonna drill a little bit with a larger drill bit here, and that will make them recess down into the plastic. Yeah, that's perfect. Clean the plastic a little bit before I mount the floppy drive. Okay, let's see if this fits on top. Yeah, almost. Probably need to force the standoffs a little bit, but hopefully that won't break any plastic. There's a problem I didn't think of. This standoff bumps into the corner piece here, and yeah, I can't get that nut down there, so that was a little bit bummer. Just 1 millimeter, and yeah, I just have to cut off a little bit of that plastic then. Okay, now it's starting to get finished, and I just need to drill a hole. I forgot a hole for the power switch. Okay, it's 12 millimeters, and that does not work. No room to drill. Okay, gonna do it from this side. Alright, the case is coming to an end, and yeah, it is quite sturdy. Yeah, very nice. Only one thing, I can't have these ugly bolts sticking out as the feet, so I have printed some covers, gonna place over them. I made these out of just some cylinders, and made a hole inside to cover the nut. And I just placed a little double-sided tape on it. Just need to cut out here for the nut. Okay, that looks nice. Maybe I'll put some dampening rubber or something under these. This is hard plastic. Alright, the case is now finished, looking good. There's still more I want to do. However, this video became rather long, so I'm gonna end it here. And yeah, that was a fun experience making this case. It became more of a mechanical work video, but hopefully it was interesting. So in the next video I'm gonna install a hard drive and start installing some operating system on this and test out the machine, see if we can get it up and running with some games. Alright, so I just want to say thanks for watching, and please hit that subscribe and like button, and special thanks to my Patreons. See you, bye bye.